Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining in, this is Majority Caucus. We are live on Joy News on your multi-TV. Once again, my name is Ali Dawood. Like I indicated earlier, tonight we've been joined in the studio by the Most Honorable Nilante Vanderpoel. He happens to be the MP for Ododo constituency. We will tell you all about that also tonight. But of course, major attention will be focused on the sports ministry. As you know, sports ministry is it's almost like a no-go area for most appointees. It's not easy to manage that particular ministry. As to what makes it difficult to manage is something that the Honorable Nilante Vanderpoel will tell us all about it. His secret in making sure the sports ministry becomes a very fertile ground for any appointee. We would also be informed tonight on this show. And you should know, it is not only the Ministry of Sports. They have a sister sports. They have a sister ministry, which is the Ministry for Youth. So it's combined. He will be telling us what they have been doing for the youth of this country, and ever since he succeeded Honorable Dr. Mustafa Ahmed, the MP for Ayawaso North. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining me.
Thank you, my brother. How are you?
Honorable, we've been busy.
Extremely.
But that's understandable. You're in a very hot ministry, as many would describe it.
And a very hot constituency.
I think this is your first time on Majority Caucus.
Yes, I should think so. You don't invite me.
Oh, we do, but of course the schedules are tight, so we do understand. Yeah. But I'm happy you honored our invitation. Honorable, what would you say was the nature of the ministry you are currently manning before you came?
Well, thank you very much. First, let me say good evening to your viewers, and also to you, and to all NDC faithfuls, and to say good evening to His Excellency the President and the Vice President, and to wish them well in whatever they are doing at this moment in time. I want to say a big thank you to His Excellency the President and the government for finding me worthy to take me to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It's been a wonderful progression from Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry to local government, and now to the substantive ministerial position of Youth and Sports. It's a dream come true to me.
Indeed.
I find myself rightly in an area I am well trained, well groomed, well nurtured, and possibly talented for. Before I went to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I've looked at the Ministry of Youth and Sports from behind. One or two occasions I've had interaction with my colleague predecessors who were there. We discussed where things should go. Let me say, all of them have been wonderful people. They've all contributed to the development of the ministry, to youth and sports in this country, up to today. And whatever achievements we have chalked so far is as a result of the pieces of advice we pick from them, and also as a result of taking cue from some of their successes and some of their failures. It's better for you to learn from your predecessors. Where others fail is where you should be careful not to fall.
Indeed.
So from the little background I have, I've applied the Ministry of Youth and Sport before as a personal assistant to the Honorable Yeti Mensah during his long reign as a minister.
Okay.
When the MPP came to power, I was one of the few people the late Honorable Osekweku also consulted in his attempt to change the outlook of the ministry. And so I have fair knowledge of what the ministry looks like, what it has to be, and a fair knowledge as to the difficulties inherent in the youth development and sports development. To some extent, I would say up to today, the challenges are still there, but so far, I will say with praise to God Almighty that we've weathered the difficult storm. And the understanding is there. Ghanaians have appreciated what we have decided to do, and I'm very optimistic, I'm very convinced that with good counseling from God and me focusing on the things that I want us to do as a ministry and continue the wonderful relationship with a group of people God have given me to work with at the ministry, I'm sure we will be able to change Ghana sports and the youth and sports ministry within the shortest possible time.
Honorable, that's quite enlightening, but there's something I need to know. Is it because you have been in the sports business and that is why it is easier for you to manage relationship with all the adjunct associations under your ministry? You call it the GFA, the swimming association, the boxing. Is it because you've been with them so you understand their language and needs perhaps better?
Let me say, principal stakeholders at the Ministry of Youth and Sports will be people involved in youth development, the various NGOs and also government institutions involved in youth development, and also the various stakeholders in sports. So I would want us to look at the two.
Okay.
Maybe what I would say is that my style is different. I have been a sportsman throughout my life, and I believe in teamwork.
I used to watch you give commentary.
And in that, what you need to do always is to give recognition to the abilities of each and everyone.
Okay.
Don't think that because you are the minister, don't think that because you have a fair knowledge of sports or with youth development, you disregard the experts at the ministry. So maybe what is salient for me is the fact that I'll be able to lay bare my vision, my mission, my objectives, my desires, my ambition to the people, the team I have met. And they've bought into it. So the cooperation is there as far as the ministry is concerned. There are others who also want to sympathize with you because people have become tired with this issue of ministerial changes at the ministry, the turnout of ministers at the ministry. A lot of people think that it is not the best. So this time they have to make sure that they stabilize. Some of the workers too also believe that the perception out there that they are the cause of the woes of previous ministers is not good enough for them. So they are ready to shed those characters of theirs and work out together for once to make sure that this issue of attrition is stopped once and for all. It's for their own good and image. Let me also say, maybe because I'm also part of the Minister of Youth and Sports is the singular most, let me say, talk about, discussed, vilified, adored ministry, possibly apart from the presidency.
It's a very hot ministry.
Yeah. If you consider the fact that it's the only ministry in this country where almost every radio station, every television station,
yes,
every sports paper,
have a sports segments.
Everybody talk about. So there's a need for you to also cut a good relationship with the media, with the people who talk about sports, who write about sports. It's better for you to share information, to talk about them. And one thing I think, from some people's understanding, is not good enough. But from the little knowledge I have acquired through communication, I decided to do was to set agenda. Oh. I decided that, look, it will not be good for me to keep quiet over issues. Let me take the problems. Somebody will say, no, you don't wash your dirty linen in public. But I also believe that if you don't tell the public out there the situation, they will not have sympathy for you.
Indeed.
Two, if you go before a doctor and you don't tell the doctor what your ailment is, the doctor will not be able to do the right prescription.
Absolutely.
Three, I also have a feeling that if you want somebody to support you in your funeral, then the best way to do is to cry, so that a person can help you in crying.
The more you will,
yeah,
the more
others will
sympathy
for
draw.
you. Yeah,
okay.
So that is a strategy I decided to do. It's a communication strategy. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. Some people will think that you are talking too much. Others will also appreciate the problems you have and they want to come closer. As I say today, I'm getting calls from all over, from people who have understood my cry, people who understand what the problem is, corporate industry, people coming forward to see how they are going to collaborate effectively with the ministry in order to achieve the targets that I have set. So if I had kept quiet, I have not said what the problems are. And it's also good for me to let the public know what the situation is. So that when the changes are coming, people will understand that this is the reason why you are doing this. I'm a Ghana. And we talk about Loni Jiosan, Shiton na wakayo.
To wait.
What it means is that if you have a fish that sometimes tastes bad in your mouth, what you have to do is to look for a very hot pepper.
Okay.
So the pepper will neutralize
Absolutely.
the taste in your mouth. So I need to take certain difficult decisions. I need to take certain hard decisions which may not look popular.
Okay.
But if that will cure the problems we have with youth and sports, so be it. In the interest of Ghana, I have to do it. Sometimes politicians, we shy away from taking difficult decisions for fear of political ramifications.
Indeed.
But thank God I'm serving in a government where the president has consistently said, look, we need to take the difficult decisions. They may not be popular, but if those decisions will inure to the betterment of Ghana, let's take it. And so far, I'm happy that some of those decisions the president led us to take, even though initially were not popular to people, people have come to appreciate it, and people love it, people have worked into it, and people are supporting us to achieve the results. It's the same thing I'm doing with sports, and I'm hoping that at the end of it all, everybody will recognize that I didn't take decisions for my self-aggrandizement. I didn't take decisions for my own whims and caprices. I took those decisions for the betterment and the development of the youth of this country and our sports.
So, for instance, when we hear the GFA complain about possible budget slashing and you demanding proper definition of what protocol means, we should not worry that much.
You see, I have a government that has always believed in probity and accountability. I've been a product of the revolution. I used to belong to the Future Leaders Organization and the Democratic Youth League of Ghana. So I've imbibed certain attitudes, behaviors, principles that I've grown with. And I will not, under any circumstance in my life, shirk those principles. If I have been saddled with the responsibility of making sure that I take care of the youth of this country and sports, I've not just been saddled with the responsibility of looking at people's faces and want to be looked at and
pleasing them.
Pleasing them. Especially when it comes to the issue of sports, when it's about people's passion and love. My first thing that I have to do always is to think about the sportsman. I will not think about the person who is administering the sport. Because without the sportsman, the administrator will not be there.
So your concern is about the beneficiaries?
My concern is about the people who go out there every morning, every evening, toil themselves, burn out their energies. Some of them train hard. They go back home and they don't even know what they are going to eat. So my concern is, what do I do? The boxer there, the swimmer, the fencer, the weightlifter, the volleyball player, and the rest will all feel that they have something to contribute to the development of this country. So when I go there and I see that out of the 37 sporting associations and federations we have, one particular sport, possibly not through no fault of the players, but then all the sportsmen, but Ghanaians erroneously have taken that sport to be, that is the passion of the nation. And as such, you and I will continue to discriminate against all the other 37 sporting disciplines in this country in favor of that sport. I don't think as a sportsman it's fair. Two, I'm very religious. And I believe that it doesn't lie within the bosom of any individual to decide that he will willfully, by his own actions and inaction, stifle the talent God has invested in someone else. The Bible says to each of us have been given a talent. So if I have the responsibility to help these people who have been given talents to bring out and to spring forth their talent, my action should never discriminate against one person so that his talent will not come to the fore.
Okay.
What we have done in the past in this country is that we have consistently been biased against all other disciplines in favor of football. So even if there is a boxer out there, there's a swimmer out there, there's a hockey player out there who possibly could win us Olympic gold, we have consistently failed to support that person to achieve his objective.
And Honorable, that is where I actually want us to narrow the discussions to. I need to know what the NDC government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has done to cure this. I don't want to say an apparent discrimination. It is real by this time. What is being done? In fact, under your leadership, what practical measures have you put in place to make sure, for instance, boxing, which I think is next, should have the same publicity, should have the same patronization as is done to sports, maybe swimming, maybe running? What is being done?
I want to sum up your answer. What has been done is appointing me.
Okay.
Yes, I was a boxer.
Oh.
I was an athlete. I was a footballer. Okay. It will be wrong for me to sit down and perpetrate this same sin,
okay,
or crime, I will call it. What has been done? President Mahama himself shares this. Ghana's constitution, Article 37, talks against discrimination in any form in sports. The NDC manifesto talks about government making sure that we give impetus to the less financed sports. And consistently, I think we have tried, but we have not succeeded because of the fear that some of us have had, that if you touch football, you've touched the blood, you've touched the bile.
And some of even alleged political consequences. Yeah, they say you lose votes.
Well, I can say that up to today, so far, 95% of Ghanaian sports lovers are in favor of the things we are doing, support the moves we have taken to ensure that this mistake is corrected. People, we should, as politicians, sometimes I say people don't know. Let's do a little bit of statistics.
Okay.
If, for example, we have 2,000 people in active football, let's say we have 100 people in each of the other sporting disciplines, times 37, 3,700.
That's big.
So if I'm a politician and I want vote, where will I go?
You go to the 3,700.
Thank you. Sometimes we don't look at things that way. Look, if you go to the Airwax Stadium, Kumasi Stadium, Cape Coast Stadium, and you see the number of young boys and girls doing athletics, multiplied by others, if we are able to support one of these ones, the multiplying effect of their families is there. I'm a politician. I don't just take steps.
You take numbers seriously.
Number of boxers who train in the various gyms. My constituency alone have 13 gyms.
Well,
supposing I have 20 boxers training in each of those gyms, do the multiplying effect of bringing hope, life, joy, happiness to the face of these boxers and their families. And you will know the number of people you are satisfying. 2, by opening the frontiers, we are opening the frontiers of that athlete in Brahababom, of that volleyball player in Nankpanduri. Recently, but for this attitude, over the period, the Upper West region have become so happy with boxing. Okay. The only ring they have had been spoiled. And nobody was ready to support them to put the ring in shape. But we'll be too happy immediately to give money for football. The Upper West region needed just about 50,000 cedis to get that ring back in shape, to trade more boxers. But we'll be so happy to spend $1 million on football, one match, than to spend 50,000 cedis to repair that gym for hundreds of people to train and possibly get the witness world boxing champion from the Upper West. I am not going to perpetuate that. I will not allow that to happen. And the Ministry of Youth and Sports is tired with that attitude.
But, Honorable, not to cut you, I have observed that there has been an apparent, frosty relationship between the ministry and the FA. I don't know, it's because you are diverting attention to other areas of sporting discipline that you thought that have been denied for far too long.
I don't have any problem with anybody.
Are we going to see a balance of the relationship between the two?
I don't have a problem with anybody.
Okay.
You see, sometimes people don't want to change. People become so comfortable with the situation that when you try to change, it becomes difficult for them.
Change is difficult.
I have my style. My style could be abrasive. My style could be a non-conformist. My style could be hip life. Yours could be high life.
And you could prefer manifest.
All this, that should not. I like him. That should not make us enemies. Let's talk. Let's engage ourselves. Okay. I'm a communicator. I like talking. Come, let's sit down. Let's talk. I'll tell you the reasons why I'm doing this. But I detest situation. Well, all through, I've made my points on radio stations, on television since I became a minister. I've not for once insulted anybody. But I have surrogates of the FA insulting me, calling me liar, some saying I talk by heart, I talk loosely. But I believe those people do not have elders in their homes.
I want to agree with you.
Yeah, because if they have elders in their homes, they will know
that
once I am a minister, you should show some little of decorum and respect
when
you are addressing me.
You
may not agree with me, but you do not have to insult me. But you see, I'm a minister. If I were the Neil Ante before,
you would have dealt with them.
I would have maybe responded in a like manner.
Yes.
But I can't.
For
one reason or the other. And also I've been trained as a journalist, as a broadcaster, as a communicator. Whenever I go behind a microphone, I'm not speaking to my equals.
Indeed.
I'm speaking to people who are older than me, people who are much more respected in society than me, people who are much more intelligent than me. So I need to choose my words very well. I need to be careful what I say. So I don't have any problem. I don't have any frosty relationship, as they say. We have differences in opinion as to the way things should be done. I am saying that why should anyone convince me to approve of a budget of $1 million for one Black Star match, when as a social democrat...
And this is a friendly game?
No, it's a competitive match. When as a social democrat, I know President Mama is hustling in the Upper East region to make sure he provides water.
Indeed.
He provides roads,
basic amenities,
hospitals, schools for people. Why should I allow that to continue? Why should I allow us to spend $1 million on football when the athletes, as today, do not know where they are going to get the money to go to the Rio Olympic Games? Do we know who is going to win this gold medal? That has eluded us all this while. Possibly, I can tell you, one of these athletes we are sending to the Olympics could possibly win us a medal. I'm very confident in the girls who are doing the quartet. I'm very confident in the guy who is throwing javelin for us. Okay. Because if at this time he's throwing 89, he's almost a medal prospect. I'm very confident in Dasso. I'm very confident in almost the few. We are not taking a large contingent. I'm very confident in the weightlifters. I'm very confident in the boxers. I'm very confident in the swimmers. I'm very confident in the judoists. So these people are going to represent us. But as I'm talking to you today, I'm not too sure where the next CD or dollar is going to come from to get them to real. But people are expecting me that whatever it takes, I should find money and get money ready for the next Black Stars, Black Satellites, and Black Queens match.
Is it that the society has finally embraced the football as this is what we like? They say, I mean, this is one thing that binds us together, MPP, NDC. I mean, once it's football. And therefore, okay, your energy should be channeled towards enhancing the image of...
I don't believe so. We have made it so. I don't. We have made it so. When, for example, as a sports journalist, I spend 30 minutes of my time just talking about football. I will not mention even one line of boxing, of athletics, of golf, of swimming, of this. How do I expect the Ghanaian to get used to these other sports? All of us as a country have followed a wrong path.
So it's a deliberate indoctrination.
It may not be deliberate, but maybe unknowingly and ignorantly as a country, we've allowed ourselves to be led into a particular way. We've narrowed ourselves into only one discipline. This country, if there is any sporting discipline that has achieved a lot for this country, is boxing.
Indeed.
But what have we done to boxing?
It's almost
what are we doing? Yesterday, I had a meeting with the Ghana Box Authority officials, lamenting
lack of funds,
lack of support. What have we done?
Honorable, another problem which is very germane is that we often see we build a nice stadium, but the maintenance is nothing to write home about. I need to know if, things will be different in terms of how to firm up our maintenance culture. It's very, very important because it costs huge sums of money.
President Mama has given a visionary idea how to solve this problem. In commissioning the Cape Coast Stadium, he asked us, the ministry, to submit a memorandum to cabinet. So the cabinet will look at how we can divorce, we can ostracize the maintenance and the management aspect of sports facilities from the mandate of the National Sports Authority. Because the National Sports Authority, for lack of funds, and then what I will call critical lack of ingenious ways of marketing the facility to make money, creative ways of generating income from that huge facilities we have.
They're just depending on government funds.
President, we've done that. And very soon, Ghana's cabinet will take a decision on this. Also, in the sports bill before Parliament, which we are championing, we are pushing hard. Possibly this weekend, we will continue. We've done the stakeholder consultations on the sports bill.
Good.
We are having in Parliament the sports bill and youth scheme bill. We are having the two bills all together. I promise Ghana, I'm going to make sure these bills come out. And we've gone far. The select committee possibly will be going on a retreat to look at all the memoranda that were submitted, the contributions that were made by people, the various stakeholders, and then we'll be able to wrap up and then submit a report to the plenary of Parliament, and possibly Parliament will discuss it, debate the bill, consider it, and then approve it before we rise for at the end of this particular sitting of Parliament.
So we should see some light at the end of the tunnel.
I am positive
with the bill.
I'm positive.
President
promised you we're going to get the information bill and the sports bill out of Parliament, and we are sure we are going to get that.
Inshallah. Like I said, there's an observation I've made. When we're growing up in schools, the sports competition, what we call interco, we go for running, throwing the javelin, all of
it doesn't seem to me that you've done that before.
No, I did something else. I was part of the fans cheering them up. It's also necessary.
So you're one of the people who were singing to cheer me up.
Oh no, yes. I mean, it's very necessary.
Those there is the song which gets me mad.
I see.
And sometimes I do above myself is when I hear the ladies singing. Obi balante fa hunyi na to fem You basically what they are when the women are singing this way, You could feel your heart is dropping out of your heart, but you still continue running.
You have to go.
Because when you finish, the lady said they will wash your dress for you.
So you have nothing to worry about.
Unfortunately for me, when I went to first swim school, it's a boys' school, so we didn't get the ladies to cheer us.
But when you go for
so the performance, your performance,
the girls.
The way gay girls are there cheering their own, would they leave to come and cheer you up?
I see.
You know, and the way gay girls were a bit too aristo, so sometimes they wouldn't want to do it the way the Agri and the national girls would do it. The way gay girls had a way of clapping, you know. But the Agri and national girls, that's for them, they will clap. So
I see. Interesting.
That is side. The truth of the matter is that schools and colleges sports should be the golden egg for us.
Okay.
I thank God that through President Mohammed's intervention, when the president of Trinidad and Tobago came over here, he made mention of the need for us to collaborate in the area of sports. Immediately flowing from that, the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, collaborated with the Home Finance Company, Home Finance Bank. Okay. And they are supporting schools sports now. We signed an agreement. They've given some support to school sports. So we'll be giving a little bit more life to schools and colleges sports.
That's very important.
Yesterday, I was so touched when I had to join the University of Ghana Sports Directorate to commend the University of Ghana team that performed wonderfully well at the Africa University Games. Okay. Ghana won the gold in basketball. Can you imagine?
That's interesting. I know University of Ghana to have a solid basketball team.
Yeah. They won the University Games, Utah Games against Accra Poly. Oh. And also went to South Africa and defeated universities from countries like South Africa, Nigeria, Liberia, Egypt, and the rest, which traditionally have Angola.
Yeah, Angola.
Angola has played in the World Championship.
For basketball.
They've even qualified for Olympic Games, but Ghana beat their university, their representative university team. That should tell you that if we give a little bit more support to our schools, our colleges, our universities, it will be amazing. I spent time with the Private University Sports Association games at the Airwax Stadium. I saw wonderful performances from some students, some athletes from Garden City Garden City University, Kumasi, from Ransford University here, Central University, Methodist University. All of them performed so well. And I told myself, these are budding talents that need to be nurtured. I've also spent time on my own, quietly, to go and sit down and watch the secondary schools do athletics at the Airwax Stadium. And I could tell you, we have wonderful future. If we can give a little bit more attention supporting school sports. Okay. And that I'm going to do. Today, I've had another meeting, wonderful, God bless meeting with the Home Finance Bank again. Oh, okay. And we are looking at how they can move on from the school sports to sponsoring the National Day Games itself. Okay. The National Unity Games itself. Okay. So that after schools and college, these boys and the girls will not be allowed to just go waste. There's a national championship where they will exhibit their talent once again to catch the eyes of the national selectors. This is something we want to do, not only in athletics. I think it is time we look at creating a competitive atmosphere for all schools at the university level that they will continually compete among themselves. Let me tell you, when we were at the university in 1986 and 87, I was a member of the university football team.
I was a small boy then.
You know, University of Ghana team, then University of Science and Technology, now coming to my University of Science and Technology, University of Cape Coast, and the College of Education Winneba team, football teams. We had close to about, in all combined, we had close to about 15 players who were playing in the then first division of our football.
Interesting.
15 players. Some of them are still around. Some of them, I remember Julius Derry, Dr. Dadebo, Emmanuel Champon, Sims Mensah, Matisiama, Prince Amuetia, Emmanuel Usu Ansai, the Deputy Managing Director of Unibank. Okay. Wonderful Moses Peku of Ghana Water Company Limited today. Wonderful players all around. And these are players who were at the university. Some of them were playing in the league. Great Martinama was playing for Great Olympics. Moses Peku was playing for Arnold Warriors. David Duncan, the recent Kumasi Asante Kotoko coach, was our captain, a central defender.
Oh, interesting.
And he was playing for Great Olympics at that time. So the universities could create the environment. Two, when you have a sportsman in a college or the university, the discipline of the school environment adds on to the technical discipline of that person. Two, in these days when facilities have become a problem, the schools and the universities present for us the most congenial atmosphere and facilities for us to train.
Yeah.
If you go, for example, the University of Cape Coast, they have everything.
I've seen that at University of Ghana. The
University of Ghana. If the University of Ghana should be able to complete the stadium, what event can't we host in this country? So they have the facilities. The discipline is also there. And these facilities are also managed well. So it gives us the impetus to be able to nurture and to groom sportsmen and women. So schools and colleges sports is a priority to the Mahama government and to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Administration at this moment in time. We are not going to renege at all. We collaborate effectively with the Ghana Education Service. In fact, our collaboration has even gone further. For Ghana Education Service, the minister has assured me that next academic year, they will review their policy on sports. For now, they're doing what we call biennial sports. So if you do athletics this year, the following year you wouldn't do athletics. So assuming a child is in SHS, and the first year he does athletics, the second year he wouldn't do athletics. The third year, that child is aiming at writing the exam, so wouldn't have that much time to do athletics. So if you're not careful, the talent, everything will go. We want a situation whereby they will do athletics around the time in school, so that they will transit very well to universities and continue.
Without any interference to academic.
So we're looking at all that. We don't know the complications that those things have on academic life. But when we're there, when we're in school, we're doing athletics, we're doing school sports, and we're still pursuing our academic life without any. It's a matter of planning and making sure that those people. And one of the best things that we'll do is what the University of Ghana is doing today. The Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Accreditation Board should reconsider the issue of sportsmen and academic work. If we will offer academic credits to people who engage in sports, we'll be encouraging more people to engage in sports.
Honorable, that is another topic I want us to discuss, but we'll do that when we go for a quick commercial break. When we come, we'll center our next segment of discussion on youth development as a means of creating employment for the youth in this country. Do stay with me, don't go away, we'll be right back. Hello, and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining in, this is Majority Caucus. We are live on your Joy News channel on your multi-TV. I have been doing the discussion in the studio with the Honorable Sports Minister, Honorable Ni Lante Vanderpoel, who also doubles as the MP for the Ododo-Diu constituency. But of course, as always, we do have our third guest, who are the wonderful viewers in your various homes. So you could join in the discussion via our social media platforms, facebook.com/Joy News TV, facebook.com/Joy News TV, or on our WhatsApp numbers 0560 800,000, 0560 800,000. The discussion in the studio continues. Honorable, let's take a quick look at the youth development, because I believe it's part of your ministry. Often is the argument being made that there's, youth unemployment and it keeps surging. I believe the NDC government has done tremendously well in terms of creating jobs. But for your sector, how has the ministry, developed talent, harnessing them into creating job opportunities for the youth?
Well, thank you very much. Since I assumed the position of the Minister of Youth and Sport, I've tried to change orientation of our youth development focus. I believe sincerely that all the problems we are having in this country is a result of lack of proper indoctrination and the development of the youth. What we have done wrong is that sometimes we put things before the youth. What I think we should be doing, as is done everywhere, is to develop the youth mentally and physically before they even move into any aspect of our social life.
Okay.
So, for example, even as a sports person, before you invite somebody to a national team, you need to develop the mindset of that person. You need to change the mindset of that person. You need to develop that person doctrinally to understand that at this moment you are moving into an area where this nation expects you to pay back the sort of recognition we are going to give you by making you one of the best 11 in Ghana to play for us, to run for us, to box for us. So that person puts on a national jersey, knowing what is expected of him and not thinking about money. We don't normally do that. We just put people in, and the people now believe that they are doing the nation a favor, so the nation must pay them.
And demanding all sort of money.
Lack of orientation. I believe that even you and I, before we are employed into any public life, any social life, into any service, we should be really oriented. We should be developed mentally. I believe in the mental development of the youth more than even the physical development. Because when you develop mentally, the youth mentally, that mental development will help the person develop himself physically to know what is right and what is wrong. Well, we don't do that. What I want us to do is to try and revive the work of all these our youth groups across the country when we're growing up. The Boy Scouts, the Girls Guides, the Boys Brigade, the Youth Fellowship, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth, the Muslim Youth Organizations, all these youth groups, the Red Cross, the Volu, all
Ghana
these
Wildlife
groups,
Society.
all these youth groups, to build up the volunteering spirit in the Ghanaian youth. Let the Ghanaian youth understand that in his life, there's something that he is supposed to do for this country. When we have done that, then we develop them on basis of skill and opportunities. When we have done that second step, then we'll be able to fit them into areas that they belong. The system we have today is that everybody finds his own level.
Who's your...
Yeah, everybody finds his own level. So people are not even, some people are not even doing what their talents and their endowments permit them to do. Right now, people are taking up jobs because they have no option. That is why today people critique the work ethics of nurses, of teachers, and the like. When you develop that nurse mentally, possibly in his development, that person may know that nursing is not my job, but teaching. Maybe the person has queued himself up to do nursing, but through the development process, that person will know that no, nursing is not mine, teaching. So there should be a holistic approach to development. In fact, what we are trying to do after we've passed the sports youth bill is to realign our structures. I'm looking at possibly being able to convince cabinet to understand that the national service scheme is misplaced under the Ministry of Education.
How so?
Well, what has the Ministry of Education got with somebody who has finished education?
That's interesting.
Yes. If the person finishes school, is the duty and the responsibility of the Ministry of Youth and Sports now to take that person, build that person, mold that person, to transcend that person to adulthood and to service life.
I am convinced.
So why should that person still be under the Ministry of Education? You understand?
Indeed.
So we should look at youth development by realigning the structures to make sure that we get institutions that will develop mentally the youth, so that that person going to look for a job will understand why he's applying for the job. When he has been offered the job, he will just not read the lines and enjoy in the offering of the job. He will understand the tenets of the job he has been offered, and he will know the demands on him. That is the only way we can develop this country. So me and you, when we are given any opportunity to serve this country, we will know that we are not better than the millions of others out there who don't have jobs. But just that it has the grace and the magnanimity of this country that we have been selected among the many and have been given a job. So it is our responsibility to do better and to do our best to make sure that even those others who have not been benefited from this, let me say, opportunity, also benefit. So if I'm working, I should know that whatever I'm doing will have a rippling effect on other people who possibly are not as lucky as I am. And that way I'll be responsible towards every responsibility I've been assigned to.
I see.
That we need to do. Our duty as a ministry will be looking at how the next administration will look at how we can change orientation, realign the youth groups to make sure that people will be happy to join a Boy Scout, people will be happy to join the Volu, people will want to do Red Cross, people want to be in the Red Crescent, people will want to belong to the Methodist youth, and through that, we'll also be building the morals of our Ghanaian youth. Through that, we'll be able to curb all these social vices that we have. Because once we make these groups vibrant, these groups by their own fiber are able to build up the moral fiber of the people they have. Okay. Hardly will you see a real Boy Scout person seeing somebody dropping something on the street or dumping refuse into the gutter and will not reprimand that person. So I think what we have done wrong in the past is lack of proper orientation and development of the youth. We need to give some spirit back to the youth groups and try and get them to stand well. That's the only way our youth will develop, and when our youth develop, we'll have a better developed sportsmen and women in this country. And
the nation will be the ultimate beneficiary. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining us in the studio this evening. It's so sad that when discussions are getting interesting, of course, time flies by. But of course, all things being equal, we would have another segment with the Honorable Sports Minister.
Allow me to talk about the wonderful Trust Emporium coming up at
time. But just
to be one of the good legacies President Mahama is going to give
quickly
Ghanaians.
In 30 seconds.
Some people are enjoying secondary school. We are going to enjoy a Trust Sports Emporium, a boxing gym, an indoor facility.
And this is happening in Ododo.
It's happening right in Ododo.
We'll have another segment. We'll discuss your constituency in perspective, Honorable.
You know something? I think the NPP are wasting their time. Because whoever wins Ododo wins the general elections.
Absolutely. It's as simple as that. And
once I'm winning Ododo with a new margin of 25,000.
Then there's no doubt about JDM's victory.
Yeah.
Then that's it. Thank you very much for watching this evening's show. Inshallah, I'll be here next week, Wednesday. Bye-bye.